15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
When Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales and for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break?
I seen your stuff on social media, boy, I know what you do, but you do it for play.
Eddie Murphy just dropped a bomb. He revealed why Kevin Hart's been low-key scared of Katt Williams. And trust, this drama's been brewing for years. Katt's been calling out Kevin with slick shots and bold claims. From saying Kevin's an industry plant to challenging him to a face-off, one that Kevin keeps ducking. But now, Eddie Murphy's backing Katt and the game just changed. Eddie used to stay far away from the mess. No beefs, no shade, he kept it clean. But when Kevin's name popped up, that silence broke fast. In a recent interview, Eddie didn't hold back. He might have been smiling, but what he said.
When are we, or are we ever gonna see you on stage again doing stand-up?
I'm gonna do it again, because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage, because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back, Kevin.
Sharp like a knife. When someone brought up Kevin supposedly breaking Eddie's stand-up box office record, Eddie didn't blink. He reminded everyone that Raw is still the highest-grossing stand-up concert film in history, and he hasn't touched a stage in 27 years. Then came the kicker. Eddie laughed and said, "Now I gotta get back on stage because I want that record back, Kevin." Sounds playful, right? But with Eddie, that smile hides a punch. He meant it.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
And that little jab shook things up. So what's this got to do with Kevin being scared of Katt Williams? Everything! Eddie Murphy is comedy royalty, the blueprint, and when he starts side-eyeing Kevin's throne, people pay attention. It wasn't random either. Kevin's got this polished, marketable image he's pushed for years. But when a legend starts poking holes in it, folks start asking real questions, and that's when Katt slides in with fire. He didn't just throw shade, he set the whole house ablaze. In interview after interview, Katt called Kevin an industry plant. He but fast-tracked and protected not because of skill, but because he played the game. Said he stayed away from real talk, real issues, and real smoke. Just kept quiet and let the system work for him. And Katt came with receipts, he said, for 5 whole years. Every movie that ended up with Kevin was offered to him first, but only if he agreed to roles he wasn't cool with, like over-the-top, degrading, or flamboyant characters. When Katt said no, those same roles landed in Kevin's lap. Just like that. Now stack that up with Eddie's comment about Kevin's record being bogus. Suddenly, Kevin's whole rise starts to look shaky. Like maybe it wasn't just talent or hustle. Maybe it was connections, timing, and silence. And that might be why Kevin avoids Katt. Not because Katt's wild or unhinged, but because he knows too much. He's been in those rooms, seen the contracts, turned down the scripts. Where Katt said no, Kevin maybe said yes. This ain't just about comedy now, it's about credibility. Then when legends like Eddie Murphy start talking, Kevin has every reason to be nervous. See, Eddie's comments might have sounded chill, but they hit hard. When a heavyweight like Eddie questions your legacy, people start looking closer. And what they're finding about Kevin ain't all glitter and gold. Take that Vegas party in 2010, something that barely got noticed back then is now blowing up all over again. Kevin wasn't just a guest, he hosted that party for Diddy. At the time, it looked like just another celeb bash, but now that footage is getting a second look and it's uncomfortable to watch. In one clip, Kevin's in a tiny bathroom, surrounded by women in bikinis, candles flickering, vibe chaotic. Suddenly, one girl's hair catches fire, and instead of panic, Kevin and the others just laugh. No concern, no reaction, just laughs and cameras rolling like it's a joke. Then there's another clip, Kevin talking straight to a camera crew, telling them not to film near where Diddy is. He doesn't say why, but the camera catches just a glimpse of that space, and the internet ran with it. People started asking, what was Kevin trying to hide? What was happening in that corner? It's not just about pointing fingers. It's about who was there, what their role was. Kevin wasn't some outsider. He was running the show. He didn't just show up. He steered the vibe, kept things going, and when things got out of hand, he laughed like it was part of the plan. And this is where it gets even messier.
I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full-court basketball court, a boxing ring.
In 2024, federal investigators came after Diddy with major allegations, accusing him of throwing secret parties called freak-offs. Not just wild parties, but spots where serious stuff went down. Drugs, exploitation, and behavior that crossed all kinds of lines. Multiple lawsuits back it up, witnesses too. And who was right there hosting one of those wild nights? Kevin Hart. No one's saying he committed crimes, but he was close, too close. And now that all this info's coming out, people are asking the real questions. Not just about what Kevin's done, but what he's willing to be around. So maybe Katt Williams isn't just some loudmouth. Maybe Eddie Murphy's joke wasn't just a joke. Maybe Kevin's scared because the people speaking now, they were there and they're not staying silent anymore. This wasn't just some wild night gone wrong. There's a darker thread tying it all together. Now let's be real. Kevin Hart hasn't been charged with anything. There's no proof he was part of the illegal stuff that's under investigation. But here's the thing. It ain't always about guilt. Sometimes it's about presence.
Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. Where did he break?
He was there, front and center, hosting, laughing, all while the vibe kept spiraling into something way more twisted. So when folks wonder why Kevin looks jumpy these days, or why he dodges certain topics, this right here is why. The clips exist, the timeline's locked, the connections crystal clear. And when paparazzi hit him up asking about his link to Diddy, Kevin didn't set the record straight. He danced around it, and that duck and weave only made it worse. Because silence mixed with footage that shows you in the middle of chaos, it screams like you're hiding something. And maybe that's exactly what Eddie Murphy was getting at when he threw subtle shade at Kevin's image. He wasn't just side-eyeing Kevin's awards, he was side-eyeing the whole foundation holding him up.
Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
After that party video started making rounds online, people began digging into Kevin's past. And what they found, it wasn't pretty. His public persona, clean, hardworking, family man comedian, started cracking. Underneath, a much more complicated track record. Back in 2013, Kevin got busted in LA for a DUI. He was speeding, almost slammed into a tanker truck. Cops said he looked clearly drunk, and Kevin later owned up to it. Said he'd been drinking and made a dumb move. That should have been a wake-up call, but it wasn't the only red flag. Fast forward to 2017, boom, cheating scandal. Kevin had only been married to Eniku Parrish for a year when a video surfaced showing him getting cozy with another woman.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to.
In Vegas again, the drama exploded when it turned out someone tried to extort him with the footage. Kevin ended up posting a public apology to his wife and kids, saying, "I made a bad error in judgment." And to make it even worse, Eniku later revealed she was pregnant when all this went down. But the storm didn't stop there. Kevin's old jokes came back to haunt him hard. In 2018, when it was announced he'd host the Oscars, folks pulled up tweets and stand-up bits from the late 2000s that were aimed at the LGBTQ+ community. And they weren't just old jokes, they sparked major backlash. When Kevin first refused to apologize again, it blew up even more. He stepped down from the Oscars and then posted a social media apology. This pattern, it's not random. It's not bad luck. It's Kevin making risky moves, then only speaking up when the heat's turned all the way up. Deny, deflect, delay, then apologize after the damage is done. That's the formula, and people are starting to see it. What's really raising eyebrows now isn't just the past, it's the company Kevin keeps.
Hey Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
When I hosted for Diddy?
Yeah. Nah?
You asking the wrong person the wrong question.
He keeps landing in rooms with ultra-powerful figures, people who are now facing serious accusations. Diddy, for example, someone Kevin was clearly tight with, is under federal investigation for throwing what insiders called freak-offs. These weren't just celeb parties. We're talking about serious allegations, drugs, exploitation, and disturbing private behavior. And Kevin, he didn't just attend, he hosted, he helped set the tone. That's not just bad optics, it's telling. It makes people question the choices he's been making all along. This ain't about blaming him for other folks' actions, but it's about proximity. Why was he always in those rooms? Why did he keep going back? That's the question folks are asking now, and it's one Kevin hasn't really answered. Let's say it again. Kevin Hart hasn't been hit with any criminal charges, but his name keeps popping up in some serious conversations about silence, protection, and how close he is to some very powerful folks. This ain't about guilt. It's about the choices he made, the rooms he stayed in, and the way he moved when things got real shady. People are starting to notice. Kevin's path to the top doesn't look like everyone else's. And that's exactly what Katt Williams called out loud and clear in 2024 during his sit-down with Club Shay Shay.
The cop comes over. Cop's like, license and registration, please. So Mike go, Buck, where's the registration for the cop? You know, he's got this African accent, right? Buck go. Man, you better get the fuck out of here. Stop talking to me, Mike. I don't know this shit. I don't know nothing out, man. Just talk to the cop.
This wasn't some goofy interview. It was a full-blown breakdown of everything that's been eating at Katt about the comedy game. And guess who sat front and center in that heat? Kevin Hart. Katt wasn't mad just to be mad. He had real questions. Like, how did Kevin get to the top so fast? While most comics grind for years in tiny clubs, hustling from city to city just to get noticed, Kevin got scooped up by the industry like he was ready-made. No long struggle, no years in the shadows, just boom, he's everywhere. Katt pointed straight at the holes in Kevin's story, especially the parts shown in that polished Netflix doc with Chris Rock. The doc pushes this idea that Kevin came up through the East Coast comedy scene. But Katt raised the red flag, saying the timeline don't make sense.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
Kevin was supposedly grinding in Philly and New York and somehow also working shows in Los Angeles at the same time. How was he in LA and the East Coast simultaneously? Katt asked. It didn't happen. That's when he dropped the word plant, and it wasn't said as a joke, it was an accusation. In Katt's world, a plant is someone the system places, hooks up with roles, connects with the right names, and promotes like they earned it from the ground up, but it's all a setup. According to Katt, Kevin didn't climb, he got lifted. Katt didn't buy the hype about Kevin's hard-earned success. The blockbuster deals, the roles, the endorsements, it felt too clean, too fast, like someone handed him the keys instead of him fighting for it like the rest, and Katt wanted to know why. Now, Kevin has pushed back on this kind of talk before. In a 2014 Oprah Prime interview, he addressed the overnight success rumor. He said, Hollywood makes it seem that way, but I've been in the game 18 years. I paid my dues more than once. Kevin talked about studying greats like Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock. He said he built his strategy by learning from their mistakes and wins. My house is filled with pictures of legends.
They tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up for don't such and such?
He said, it keeps me focused. Then he added, what separates me is my drive. My drive is fueled by other people's success. That sounds good, but Katt wasn't sold. For Katt, it was never about whether Kevin worked hard. It was about who helped him skip the line. Most comics never get that shortcut. So how did Kevin pull it off? That's what people really want to know. And Katt didn't stop with just Kevin. As the heat on Kevin's come-up started bubbling, Katt widened the lens. He went after the whole Hollywood machine. He straight up said the industry isn't fair, that real talent doesn't always rise. There are gatekeepers, and in his eyes, Kevin Hart became one of them. To make his point, Katt brought up Kevin's connection to Tiffany Haddish. Now Tiffany's everywhere. She blew up with Girls Trip, hosted Saturday Night Live, became a full-blown household name. But her story wasn't always shining. She's been open about her rough past, homeless, sleeping in her car, grinding just to survive. In a 2018 Vanity Fair interview, Tiffany said Kevin changed things for her. They were both doing sets at the Laugh Factory when he noticed she was living in her car. Kevin gave her $300 and told her to get a motel room. Then he told her to write down her goals, map it out and chase it step by step. And guess what? She did. She booked that room, wrote down her vision.
I have forever been the humble guy. I have time to not be humble today. I have time to fact check everything he said because the world of Katt Williams is a fictional world.
And went to work. Role by role, goal by goal, she made it happen. It sounds like a real-life Cinderella story, right? But Katt wasn't clapping for it. On a fiery appearance on V103's Frank and Wanda in the Morning, he threw shade at that whole fairy tale. He wasn't feeling the Hollywood version of events. He hinted that the story looked polished for the cameras, but behind the scenes, it might have been way more calculated. Katt Williams didn't hold back when it came to Tiffany Haddish. He straight up questioned if she really earned her crown as a top-tier comedian. Katt said she's been doing stand-up since she was 16, but then hit everyone with this, name your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. And most folks went silent. Why? Because according to Katt, She ain't even done a full comedy tour, no big special. Nothing to show she can carry a stage solo for an hour. He didn't just go after her work ethic. He questioned if she even writes her own material. Can she hold down a crowd for more than 10 minutes? Or was she just to face the industry push because she fit their image? That's what Katt was asking. He said it looked like Hollywood handed her the spotlight before she was even ready to shine in it. Then things got real spicy, Katt said. Y'all were quick to tear down Monique, but lift up someone just because they did Girls Trip. Did you think she wrote Girls Trip goofball, or was that script handed to her wrapped with a bow? The whole room tensed. Wanda Smith, the radio host, tried to defend Tiffany, saying people love her because she's real, but Katt clapped back hard. Since when did being real become a brand? He wasn't letting up. He even threw in a jab about Tiffany's public comments about having a crush on Brad Pitt. Katt suggested her popularity partly came from making the industry comfortable, with her openness about being into white men. In his eyes, that played right into the hands of old Hollywood power structures that still decide who makes it and who doesn't. And then he turned the spotlight on some forgotten queens of comedy, names like Luanell, Miss Laura, Melanie Camarco, women who put in real work for years. Where's their Netflix special? Where's their Girls Trip? Katt asked. Why ain't the industry lining up for them? It was a brutal mic drop. Kevin Hart wasn't about to let that slide. He pulled up to the Breakfast Club with Tiffany Haddish right next to him, and he came swinging. You had your shot, Kevin said, talking directly about Katt. You were set up to be the guy, but you didn't show up to work. You skipped promos, you flaked on deals, you became a liability. Kevin made it clear. He wasn't here for Katt tearing down somebody else's shine because he didn't manage his own. But what made Katt's heat different this time? He wasn't just naming names, he was laying out timelines, projects, and deals. Katt claimed that for 5 straight years, nearly every comedy role Kevin got had landed on his desk first, but he turned them down. Why? Because the scripts were trash in his eyes, full of old stereotypes, roles that pushed goofy, over-the-top behavior, or what he called overtly homosexual humor that didn't sit right with him. I'm not against comedy, Katt said. But I'm not taking shortcuts. I'm not playing parts that don't line up with who I am, just to get ahead. He said every time he tried to suggest changes or edits, the industry ignored him and handed the role to Kevin, who took it as is. That tied into a deeper convo Katt had been having for years, the whole black men in dresses topic. He wasn't alone either. Dave Chappelle had talked about this too. The idea that some black male actors are pushed to wear dresses for laughs as a weird kind of rite of passage. Katt brought it up again while promoting Scary Movie 5, around the same time Kevin did a sketch on Saturday Night Live, wearing a dress. Kevin saw it as just another comedy bit. But for Katt, that moment meant something bigger. It wasn't about the outfit, it was about what it represented. Going along with industry rules, playing nice, even when it meant feeding into stereotypes, and that right there, that was the core difference between them. Katt believes he got pushed out of the game because he wouldn't play by those rules. He said no. He didn't smile and stay quiet. He didn't take every check just to stay relevant. And the industry, in his words, left him behind because of it. Kevin, though, he sees it differently. He says he worked hard, kept his head down, stayed focused. He treated every opportunity like gold and turned small moments into a massive career. That's his truth. But Katt ain't the only one raising eyebrows. Monique also stepped forward recently, dropping bombshells about Kevin turning his back on her when she was really in the trenches. She said that while she was catching heat from big names like Oprah and Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart went ghost. No support, no backup, just silence. And if you thought things couldn't get messier, buckle up, because this last part will definitely raise your eyebrows. Word on the street is Kevin Hart's been playing nice with both Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey to keep climbing the Hollywood ranks. Yeah, for real.
To hear me, Kevin Hart. Let's move past that, Mo. Let's do some great things together. Don't even worry about it. Whatever y'all want to do, I will partner with you. I'll executive produce with you. You just let me know what you want to do. That's a miscommunication, and we're going to talk Tuesday. Don't worry about it. I'm telling you right now, it's a miscommunication. That was 2 years ago. If you talk to him, I talk to him. I've never talked back to Kevin Hart.
Let's rewind to 2021. Kevin had Monique on his Comedy Gold Mines podcast. Yep, the very same Monique who's had major beef with Oprah and Tyler for years. And this wasn't some surface-level chat. They went deep. Monique laid it all out, her journey, her struggles, her battles with the industry, and how she felt like her back was against the wall, and that's when Kevin stepped in. Like a real one. At least that's how it looked at first. He told Monique she was like family to him. Not just a peer, but someone he saw as a mix of a mother, a sister, an aunt. He didn't just drop kind words either, he promised to help. Now Kevin admitted he didn't know Oprah like that, but said he'd reach out to Tyler Perry, and he actually did. After their talk, Kevin came back to Monique with what sounded like good news. Perry was ready to squash the beef and move forward. Kevin urged Monique to do the same, saying, "Let's leave all that negativity behind, Mo. We got bigger moves to make." And just when it seemed like he was really riding for her, Monique revealed to Shannon Sharpe that Kevin went even further, offering to executive produce any project she wanted. She said Kevin told her straight up, "Mo, let's forget the past. I'll partner with you. I'll produce with you. Just tell me what you need." Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Monique even said Kevin gave her a large amount of money during tough times, and she paid it back with interest. Sounds like solid loyalty, right? But then comes the twist. Monique was hyped, ready to relaunch her talk show, and with Kevin on board, that was huge. She told her production company Endemol, and they were fired up. But just 2 weeks later, boom. Endemol tells her they got a call from Kevin's manager, Dave Becky, and Kevin was suddenly backing out. Shocked, Monique picked up the phone, trying to hear it from Kevin himself. And what did she get? A vague brush off. "We'll talk Tuesday, don't worry about it." Fast forward 2 years, and still nothing. Not a call, not a text, not even a voicemail. Just silence. That's when fans started putting the pieces together, and some started whispering something wild. Did Kevin ever plan to help Monique, or was this all just a move to stay on the safe side of power? There's even talk, rumors, that Kevin might have traded real loyalty for career security. Because helping Monique while she was going up against Oprah and Tyler, that could have messed with his standing in the game. One thing's for sure, when a legend like Eddie Murphy publicly questions your success, it flips everything. It's not just shade, it's a signal. It gives everyone else permission to start asking the questions that have been sitting in the shadows. And once someone like Eddie stops respecting you, no number of box office hits or social media followers can cover that up. So now we're left wondering, what's real, what's strategy, and who's really pulling the strings? If you made it this far, you know the drill. Like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next bombshell. This rabbit hole is far from over. And trust me, we're just getting started. See you in the next one.